Hey, look, Daddy, I can make this much money for you. Can I get $1 million more?
They wanted the benefits that came from releasing an early access product.
And Pred hates gays. What is the first project that has came out with anything ever? Okay, do you know what that answer is?
I don't know the name of it. What was it? I mean, it's a failed project.
So you're gonna say core, but that's not true. But like of that exists now. Do you know what it is?
Of it, well, okay. If it exists now, I would place my bets on Fault.
No. So over a year before Fault was even announced or thought of, Predecessor had been in development by the same people it is now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think that I'm lying, you can look it up. You can ask anyone. It's true. Okay. Over a year.
So hold on. Over a year, because I'm trying to understand the time frame here, and how it relates to the present day. So,
Paragon shut down in April of 2018. Okay, that's a timeline 0.0.
But more importantly, how does Predecessor starting earlier or later, how is that relevant?
Well, don't you think like the longer you work on something, the more you'd expect out of it, right? Like League of Legends is an 11-year-old game, and it's become one of the most prominent games in the world. It's had 11 years to create what it is today. Do you think that's a business? Do you expect a startup business, since you're all about talking about business and money? Do you expect a startup company to be as successful as Facebook, right? So obviously these are extremes, but do you understand what I'm saying, right?
I believe I do. And you have a point that, I mean, obviously a longer any kind of company has to refine their product, they're going to do better. But my point is that it's irrelevant, because if you let's just say this. Let's just fast forward to January 5th, 2022, and let's just hypothetically say Overprime has a game released and Predecessor has a game released, right? And you have a new consumer approach all three products, Fault, Overprime, and Predecessor, at January 5th, 2022. Right? Every bit of history that Fault has, it's irrelevant to the new consumer, because they
instead of January 5th, 2022. Okay, you've been talking for 3 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. I know it's your stream, but
no, say your piece. Say your piece, man.
We are right now what we are. All the games have relatively the same financial backing. Whether one's public, one's not, one's a very small division of Netmarble or not, all the games are relatively the same. One is out, one is a live product, one is something that if you want to play a Paragon game, you can boot up, you can play it any time of the day, you can find a game, there's a community, there's an active Discord, there's resources for you to help learn the game, get better at the game.
Dude,
that game is Fault.
No, dude, you cannot find a game at any time of the day with Fault. If you go into the Discord and you ask, they're gonna very clearly instruct you that, hey, EU has these times and NA has these times.
All right, JPie, how do I play? All right, give me a Pred lobby right now.
What?
Give me a Pred lobby, JPie. Let me play Pred right now. What do I do? How do I play it?
Now,
download link,
dude.
What do I do? I have a server? Do I have a code? What do I need to do? Right? Because I can't play Fault, but I can play Pred, right? That's what you're saying.
But that's a different topic. That's a different discussion.
It's not. It's the same topic.
And what is that topic? Just so I understand clearly.
That Fault is a game that has been out. It has bugs that have been found and fixed over a year now, that Pred has never had to deal with, Overprime has never had to deal with. There's never been an account system in Predecessor. There's never been an account system in Overprime. They have never had to deal with API. They've never built an API. There's no matchmaking. They don't know how to deal with getting people into a game. Their test was catastrophic. They couldn't even get it to fucking work. What What is there not to talk about here?
So Reverb, the first point that I have to bring up is this: Fault chose to release as early as they did. They could have just as easily held the cards to their chest, and they could have just went under closed development for another year and a half. They chose to release as early as they did, and they didn't have to do that. And you know what? Like, listen, there's positives and negatives to that, right? Fault and SMS, they released their product first. They had the first mover advantage, and they had certain benefits from that. But the thing is, the product was not there. And dude, Reaver, I'm telling you, if they released into early access with the game in its current state, i.e. patch 13 state, dude, you would have probably 500 more concurrent players. Seriously, because
and these people playing the game right now literally does not matter.
No,
Matter
dude, you are so wrong. I have to disagree. The people who are playing the game now are the most passionate people who play Paragons like games and MOBAs. How could you say that they don't matter?
No, the people they matter as players for like the player economy, but as like a consumer and business standpoint, they don't matter at all because it is such a small scale to what the game is going to see. Strange Matter Studios has done no advertising. They have not gone public. Strange Matter Studios could have the game be in the same form an entire year and it wouldn't matter because Predecessor's not out and Overprime's not out. And I'll tell you right now that Fault doesn't even see them as competitors because of how far behind they are. I'm serious, man. There is so many like backstops being put in place because they have the time. Because if Pred could release a game right now, they would. If Pred could release a working product right now, they would do it. They would get money. They would show their investors, hey, look, Daddy, I can make this much money for you. Can I get $1 million more? Please, Daddy, I want more money. But they can't. They couldn't get a playtest working, man.
Dude.
And you can't tell me that's not true. You can't tell me that's not true.
Listen, Pred can release within the week if they wanted to. Why could they not? Because they had a failed playtest of servers?
They couldn't get a fucking playtest to work, man. How could they release today? Okay.
It was
I know you don't understand the back process that goes into making a game work, but I do, okay? And there's so many things involved here. There's so many things involved.
But dude, again, of all the so many things involved that would prevent them from releasing within the week, why couldn't they? Like, the stress test was in July, the end of July. Like, what, like, dude.
When was the test before that? When was the test before the July test? Do you remember? I'm pretty sure it was in September.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant?
Why is it relevant? Mm-hmm. Well, it's relevant because it shows what. So let's say, did you get to play that game? I got to play one game of Pred, the Pred stress test that didn't work, right?
I got to play 3.
Okay, so congrats, you got to play 3 games. What was different from the game almost a year ago before that? What was different?
I wasn't part of that testing.
Okay, well, there's video documentation. Like, you can look this up. Like, you can, if you're so into this and everything that goes on with Paragon, like, you should know what's different, right?
New items, blink mechanic. That's what I would say.
No, there wasn't new items. They fixed some of the bugs with the items. They added one hero, and there was the flash mechanic.
Okay, but
if you don't believe me, like, you can.
Okay, but dude, let's get to the let's not get off track. Let's get to the main point. They can release within.
This is my main point.
Yeah, they can release within the week. And my point is this: don't you think?
They can't release.
Oh, they absolutely can.
That's a flawed statement. No, they can't. Why can't? Where's your predecessor, JPie?
My point is this: don't you think that there are? Don't you think that there are benefits for stalling the release because they're developing other things? Like, you don't know what's under the covers. They might be developing a separate map with a 5v5 one lane mode. They might be developing new heroes. Like, don't you think that if they're not releasing right now, because think about it this way, they had a failed stress test in July. It doesn't take 4 months to fix servers. They could have had that. They could have had that.
There's not been another stress test.
Yeah, they could have
Once
had.
they got it fixed, why wouldn't there be another stress test, JPie? If they were ready to have one,
Dude,
why wouldn't there be another one?
Because when you
Give me an answer.
have more things in the pipeline and you're trying to get them ready as soon as possible, right? There's a certain time frame.
What's in either pipeline? You have no idea.
I'm not saying that I do, but you are acting like
So why are you justified to say that you do,
dude. You are acting like you know what's happening in Predecessor's pipeline, and you're saying
I do.
You're saying no. You're saying like, oh, they should just release right now. How? You don't know what's in their pipeline, dude. They might have
You're
like
the one that said they should release right now. You just said they could release this week if they wanted to. Is that not what
they
you said?
they
I
could.
said, no, they couldn't.
Yes, dude. You have no idea what they're working on. You have no idea because if they really wanted to release this week, they can. They can. There's nothing stopping them. They have stress tests. They would have had the servers fixed and they would have released ASAP. Why do you think that
why hasn't there been another test? Okay, I want you to think about this and answer with your fucking brain, okay? If they had a stress test but they wanted to test things, why is there not been another one? And I see you fucking spazzing out on your stream right now, wanting to blow your fucking brains out.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to engage all my brain neurons for this answer, because there's no reason to. There's honestly no reason until they have to rush. Because why would they rush? What when they had $2 million in funding?
Because Fault. $2 million is nothing for game development.
Okay, so how much does Fault have? How much does Fault have? Let's just say, okay, just how much does Fault have then? If $2 million is nothing, right? Like fuck, I wish I had.
It is nothing.
I wish I had nothing for game development. Okay,
so,
but no. How much does Fault have? How much does Fault have? How much does Fault have?
So first off, Pred has $2 million from angel investors that own a large stake in the company, that their opinions matter more so than that of the game developers, because they're the ones that have the money and are making the decisions. Can we agree on this? That since
they have investors, I can agree they have investors. Okay.
So Fault has investors too, but they're not like, hey guys, we have nothing to show for, so we're going to show that we have all this money. Fault has investors.
So answer me, how much money does Fault have? How much money? How much money?
I don't know, but I know
ballpark
that over
numbers.
$5 million in Steam sales alone.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And Steam sales,
they made a killing off Steam sales. That's why they haven't gone free to play. That's why.
So you're saying like $2 million. Oh, that's so much money, and money means everything. Mm-hmm. But they have investors. Like I'm telling you this, it's an objective fact, and they've made. I'm gonna approximate $5 million off of Steam sales. Okay.
Approximate. Okay. I'm cool with approximations.
Yes, Pred is single-handedly 2 million investor bucks, okay? And they have no creative control over their game because of it, because all of their money is from that.
No, now you're assuming far too much. No creative control whatsoever. What is your evidence there? Why would you say that?
Their evidence is they have nothing like in the game. They have no skin in the game.
Dude, what are you talking
to bring? Whenever they're talking to investors, what do they have to bring to the table, man? They've had four failed tests.
Right? Are you, dude? They had a $2 million backing. What are you talking about? They have nothing to bring to the table. What investors have advertised their investment of Fault?
Instead of putting me on the spot, I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay, put me on the spot.
What Pred has? What does Pred have?
Dude, they have pitched their game to investors with their what they had in a closed environment with their Discord and their Reddit, and somehow investors jumped on board and actually gave them $2 million. So,
just because Fault hasn't announced that they have investors, that they have daddies, you think that they just don't exist, right?
No, I know. I'm well aware of that. Fault has made a lot of money off of the Steam sales. That's why they haven't gone free to play.
I'm guessing you're not in the game development world whatsoever. Like you're just a player. You just think
I'm a consumer. I'm a consumer. Okay, so enlighten me.
And you realize money in business, like in a let's say like a selling platform, like you sell a product and a product costs X money to make per unit. Like that's whenever like capital and money really matters, right? I have a product I'm charging $50 for. It costs $25 to make. Every time I sell one, my company makes $25. That's not how a video game works, right? So you need to be able to bring in talented and passionate developers. In the past year, Fault has hired, I think, like 12 people. And just because things aren't moving instantaneously in front of your eyes, like it's League of Legends, for example, doesn't mean it's not happening in the back. And since the other games aren't out, since they don't matter, they can take their time. They can make huge patches one at a time instead of doing small updates. If you looked at Fault 2 years ago and compared it now, you would be amazed, man.
Okay, dude, listen, I am amazed. I always say, and I say it often on my stream, that compared to the early access release, Fault is in the best state it's ever been in, and it's night and day compared to the early access release. I do say that, but where I think that you and I disconnect is this, right? Like, I'm not discrediting all the progress Fault has made, but it's like this. Fault has been running, like, just imagine this analogy. Fault has been running a race, right? And let's just say it's a marathon, and they're 10 miles into the marathon. Now,
yes,
Predecessor, Overprime, they've had the luxury of just keeping it under wraps, and they haven't been advertising anything. But when they release, they're going to release, and when they bring themselves to the race, they're going to be 2 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles ahead of Fault, because they just have a much more refined product, and it has nothing to do with how far Fault has come. It just has to do with where they release. Like,
they haven't even started. Like, you have no clue how these companies and how their back-end coders are going to be able to address handling a live game. There are so many issues that go into handling a live service that is always online. How can you patch the game live? How can you fix a bug? How can you provide 24/7 customer service? Like, these are all, you're just speculating about how good Overprime and how good Predecessor is going to be, man.
It's not the same.
A real thing right in front of you. You have a real thing to base off of right in front of you, and you shit on it because you're bad at it.
It's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same, because let me tell you, first of all, Fault chose to put their cards on the table and fully release because they wanted the benefits that came from releasing an early access product. They did that. That was their own choice. To be in a live environment, it's not a badge of honor. It's not something to be proud about. They willingly put themselves in that position. I'm not gonna knight them.
Is it not something?
I'm not gonna knight.
Something to be proud of, that you are a thing that someone can buy and play, and these other people aren't, man.
Because when Overprime or Predecessor releases in 3 months,
you're so happy for Overprime and Pred, but you can't play them, man. You can't play them.
Yeah, but the thing is this: when they release,
you said 3 months, a year ago, you said, oh, whenever Overprime releases, whenever. Fucking
I never said that about Overprime. Never said that about Overprime. Maybe on Predecessor.
You did about Predecessor.
Maybe, yeah.
I've been saying the same shit for a year, like a broken record, man. But you play Fault every fucking day because you have no other choice.
I don't play it every day. Don't play it every day
because you only streamed it for 8 hours.
The only reason I didn't stream Red Dead Redemption 2 tonight is because my Elgato capture card died. It actually quite literally died. Otherwise, I would have streamed that.
Unlucky, man.
Yeah, it is really unlucky, and I can't stream any more PlayStation games, unfortunately. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. My point is this. Kudos to Fault for providing a live product that is actually playable. Now, it is something worthy of being respected and commended. And I don't do that enough on stream, right? I shit on it often, but you know what? There's a lot of passionate people who work there, and you know, they do a good job. But it's kind of like if you have a mom and pop store around the corner, and then you have a Walmart just down the block opening up, it's like, fuck, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, but Pred isn't Walmart, man. Pred is fucking Save-A-Lot.
Okay, Overprime, dude. One or the other. Take your pick, Pred or Overprime. with when they release, it's going to make a huge splash. And Reverb, with all due respect, right? Vault has come a long way, but their early access release was damaging to their reputation. And if you were there, like I was there, dude, I was there day one, early access release. I was in there in Briddick's stream when he had almost 3,000 people there. Everybody's watching, everybody's hyped. And then the game just went on a huge decline from there. And that has, like, that's not to be ignored. You said the people now don't matter. I disagree. The people mattered.
Why do they matter?
Because they're your biggest supporters. And the people who were there on early access day one, they were the absolute biggest supporters. They were Paragon lovers. And Fault lost them because they didn't value them. They didn't value them.
Don't you think it's more important to grow customers organically through your own brand than Paragon?
I think it's. Don't
you think the end game goal is for these games to detach from Paragon and become their own games?
No, that now you're talking about something different. I think it's the most important thing to take care of your most supportive customers. I think it's the most important thing that you take care of the people who are the most passionate about your product. That's what I think, and I don't think Fault did a good job at that. And that's why I think that they're suffering, and the game is in the state that it is today.
What would you have done differently in all your wiseness?
I would have delayed. Like, first of all, with the Indiegogo, I would have not promised so much. Step one. I would have not.
What hasn't been delivered, man? I
would have not early access. They announced January 2021 free to play early access. What happened? We don't have a free to play date. We don't have a free to play date now. In the Indiegogo, they announced it in January 2021, free to play. It's not free to play in November, and I'm not going to hold my breath that it's going to be free to play for December.
Do you think Pred's just going to release this to be free to play? Because I can tell you it's not.
You know, they have no incentive to try to go free to play. But now you're getting off topic. You're going to Predecessor when I'm focused on Fault. You're like, I'm talking about Fault here, not Predecessor.
To you, these things are entwined, though. To me,
they're not entwined. They're not entwined. We're talking about Fault as its own company, and that's my point. You just asked, what did they promise that they didn't follow through? Free to play, January 2021. It was promised to all the Indiegogo backers. All of them. That they exchanged money with that promise, and when they failed, like, listen, failing to keep the promise, software development is unpredictable. That's perfectly fine. But the wrong move is just to sweep it under the rug and not name a new free-to-play date, which is exactly what SMS did. Exactly.
Would you rather have another date that could potentially get missed?
Listen, if they missed another date that could potentially get missed, then nobody should ever even take this company seriously. But the fact is, one time, you know what? It happens, right? You're a new company. You guys are new developers
from their mistakes.
And so you think it's just perfectly fine that they didn't promise a new free-to-play date, despite taking money from people that when they initially promised that date? Like, can you imagine another business?
It's not like those people just can't play the game anymore, man.
No. That's not the point. Can you imagine getting your car's brakes fixed, and then you show up 1 week later to be like, hey, I'm here to pick up my car, and they're just like, oh man, you know what? It's not ready.
Man. The brakes work.
It's not ready, but when it's ready, it'll be ready. When it's ready, it'll be ready. That's what I'm talking about, man. No. When you have an agreement, right? I'm telling you, dude, because I have to be the unfortunate voice of all the Indiegogoers that feel slighted because nobody else will, because they gave money due to these promises. And when you make promises and take money, you have to do your damnedest to keep them. Otherwise, I
really think you're getting caught in like semantics about Fault 2 years ago. Whenever
so let's move on.
Faults of Overprime and Predecessor.
Okay, let's move on. So you said that the financial backing is all the same.
But Fault, it is all the same relatively amount wise, but Fault has actually made their own profit for themselves, not from investors.
Well, yeah, but that's because Overprime and Predecessor didn't release their product yet.
Yeah, but don't you think Predecessor like promised certain things to their investors? Don't you think whenever they did their playtest, they were like,
no,
wanted to show their investors how good they were doing?
No, because they planned the playtest with their investors' demands in mind. Like, this is all part of their plan. Like they weren't trying to have. And by the way, it's not a playtest; it was a stress test. They weren't trying to have like the greatest stress test in the world to make the most money possible. It served a purpose. And let me just say, it was a shitty stress test. It was a shitty stress test to stress their servers, to stress their programming, which was not up to snuff, by the way. And when
that's just not how servers work either, though, man. Like, this is where like people don't understand how like the industry works, and it's not just like, oh, the servers didn't work. It's their like back end coding.
Yes, I agree.
That didn't function.
I agree.
There's a difference between the servers not working and them being inadequate.
Okay. I feel like we're both in agreement here. They like, Omida was ill prepared for this stress test.
Like when Fault did a stress test and 2 days
dude, no.
24 hours fixing it, and it got up the same weekend, man. Like,
Reverb, I just implore you to just stop like the comparisons, like the direct to direct comparisons, because
you're the one that wanted to compare them in every single aspect. Dude, like, when Pred comes out, whenever Prime comes out in here, fuck you guys.
No, because listen, when Pred and Overprime come out, Fault has been out for over a year. It's not the same. Like, I will elaborate. I like, listen, we're having miscommunication, misunderstandings, and I'm perfectly fine to.
Predecessor has the same issues that Fault had in its early stages. I will laugh. And every single person that's been winning the Pro will be like, man, this shit's exactly how Fault went. They had issues. It's not perfect. I think I'm going to go play this polished game Fault that's been out for years and has actually been able to grow and develop and make their own content.
Dude, listen, kudos to Fault. I don't want to downplay the achievement that all the hardworking people at SMS have achieved.
You did, though. You did.
Okay, how?
Just 20 minutes ago, you did. You're saying how it's so shit and the coders don't know what the fuck they're doing. Steel Wall doesn't work for this. I'm so triggered because Steel Wall doesn't work right, and I'm a little
dude. Honestly,
that's what you did, man.
Okay,
that's what you did.
Okay, I did, and because a lot of the interactions of the game don't make sense, and I don't think that there's insight into it, and it's been like that since closed beta. That's over a year. Can you blame me?
And Predecessor, whenever like you just were Gideon and went through walls in the map, and
dude,
that shit just wasn't a problem.
Dude,
I guess, right?
if you have a clip, please send it to me so I can showcase it on stream. But my point is this: like, there are bugs that have been in there since closed beta that are in there today, like the teleport bug.
Like what?
There's just one teleport bug. When you take damage for the last second and a half, and it doesn't interrupt your teleport, that's been in there since closed beta.
That's not a bug. It's not a bug.
It's not a bug. It's intended.
It is. No. It's Titan shield, and shields are not your health, and they don't affect you from ruining the base. It's a mechanic. It's in other games, and it's how it works. It's working as intended.
Okay.
I guarantee you're hitting a Severog with Titan for like 2 damage, and you're like, damn, I didn't stop his back because my twin blast grenade.
I'm gonna try Murdoch, but not the point.
Okay, try Murdoch. Okay, like what?
Yeah, try a Rick at 20% HP, and I'm blinking in on him with my Shadow Slip with Countess and my right click. Regardless, there have been bugs there that have been so long, and my point is this, right? This is what I'm trying to stress to you, Reverb, right here. Like, let's just say Overprime and Predecessor come out tomorrow. They are going to be in a state that is more refined than Fault, and the journey of Fault plays no relevance whatsoever. If you have some new player, no, it doesn't. If you have somebody who's just if somebody just logs on Steam and they just have, Steam recommends, MOBAs third-person MOBAs, and they just go there. They're just going to read the Steam reviews and see what happens, and they're gonna see that, okay, Fault has mixed or average reviews, and then the other games, and they're gonna, like, a lot of people are gonna base it off that.
A bunch of people are gonna buy it, right? And then after like a week or two, the hype's gonna die down, and then people won't play it anymore.
Dude, obviously there's hype. Dude, obviously there's hype.
Familiar though? Dude, do you know how many people bought fucking Fault? Bro, it is so many people. So many people own the game. It's sitting in their library. When patches come out, they flux in. Even though the max players don't peak that much, there's more like unique users that come in, right? And they come back and see it. And it's just about getting those players to stay, man. And like you just are assuming that Predecessor is going to come out and be a perfectly fucking working game.
No. You are assuming that Fault is going to have all these unique players and all these other people that have it dormant in their library, and they're going to go back to it when they have two other competitors on the market in Overprime and Predecessor. And when Overprime and Predecessor, when they go through their like paid early access periods and they're free to play, I hope Fault's free to play, because that is going to be the most important time. That is going to be the most important time. That is going to be do or die, and these games are going to fail or succeed based off of that period of time. Because it's going to be soon. It's probably going to be within 2022 that all of these games will be free to play. And then when that happens, at that point, it's going to be whoever has the best product and the best marketing and the most money behind it. And
for some reason, you just insist it's going to be Predecessor or Overprime.
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Because the fact that they're not rushing to market right now, I think is a sign that
don't even have their... The fact that they don't even have their training wheels on yet and have started riding the bike is really scary.
Dude, they're not going to have the same course that Fault has had. Like
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they? Because they're a completely different studio. They're backed by like the core of the program is entirely different. It's coded differently from the ground up. It's not the same exact product as Fault. They're going to have a completely different experience. It's not comparable. It's not at all comparable. And
then by Fault having bugs, the developer's just incompetent compared to the rest of the gaming world, right? Bugs just don't happen ever, right?
No, bugs happen, and they're very difficult to squash. They're elusive.
That's what pisses you off about Fault, right? But Fault has fixed hundreds of bugs over its lifetime. They've added characters. They've made their own.
Okay.
They've made their own animations. They've made their own skins.
We're moving on to something different now. But to your point, a lot of the bugs that I reported many months ago, they're still in the game. And you know what?
I'm your Titan backing bug.
Like,
name me another one, man.
Decker's stun. Decker's stun.
Decker's stun. What a bug, man.
Oh yeah. When you stun an enemy point blank right in your face and they don't stun, yeah, it's a pretty big bug. And
yeah, just
to throw another bug in there, just for good measure, abilities missing on inclines, like Sev's Q. Sev's Q misses so fucking much, it's unbelievable. And then
that's something I'll agree with you on. That is a problem.
Yeah,
that the Z-axis doesn't work properly.
Yeah, and I've been told that it's going to be fixed with a new map. That is the explanation. I've reported
patch 14 actually.
Yeah, I've reported that bug ad nauseum, and then I think.
But you won't work at it. You won't look at patch 14 with open eyes. You'll just look at it like Pred waiting.
Dude,
patch.
I wish I had patch 14 in my hands right now. I wish I had it right now.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I do, because
fucking epitomes of testers, like he said, right? All this piece of shit that ruined the game, we got in our hands, right?
Dude, you're going on like some other path, man. Like you're talking about something else.
I'm going on a path.
If you want a pity party, we pity you, man. We're gonna play the violin for you.
You crying for an hour and saying, "All right, guys, see you later." When your stream was 7 hours and 50 minutes in, and here we are.
Okay, you got me, dude. You got me, man. This is why I hesitated to bring you on, because we were talking about good stuff.
Conversation.
Yeah, we were having
and snowballed forever to where I couldn't even say anything.
Are you fucking serious? Then say what you want to say. Say what you want to say right now.
But you won't listen to it.
I'm listening.
I think it's true.
Okay. I'm listening.
What I
All
said
ears.
from the entire point is that Vault is a live game that has patches, it has bug fixes, it has people actively playing the game, it has back-end code that works. It may not be the best. It may not be the League of Legends of 3D MOBAs, right? It may not be the Apex Legends, the tip of the top, but it is a live product that has active development and has had those learning curves and has had those bumps in the road that these other companies haven't. And for some reason, the community just has the utmost faith and the utmost like confidence that these games are just going to come out and be fucking perfect. And it sickens me as someone who is a part of the industry.
I don't want to cut you off. Do you want me to address anything that you've said?
Ahead, because that's what I've been saying the entire time, and you don't really like treat it as a real thing. You said no, that's not true, and you don't address it.
Oh no, I mean I feel like I did, because I said that the reason like Fault has had these challenges is because they did choose to go early access and release it at the time that they did. They didn't have to. They didn't have to promise all of that, but they chose to. They put themselves under those restraints, and they've suffered for it. And I'm not gonna like get back into it.
How is that a bad thing?
Because like, dude, early access release. Look at the numbers. Look at the Steam numbers. Look at Fault Steam numbers. You went from a 3,000 peak high player base, 1,200 concurrent players, to half of that, less than half. That's why.
Yeah, this is something that happens all the time in games, man. All the time.
Listen, early access release. You're right. You're right. Early access release. You always lose players, but dude, this is like an extreme amount. It's not something that you could just look over. It's not something that you could just think like, you know what, all these players that were our biggest supporters are like the people that actually put money behind the game. Fuck them. Who cares? We're just gonna just mark it later and make up for these losers. That's not how it works. If anything, you should prioritize the people that were your biggest and most adamant supporters and try to keep them, because they're the ones who are going to be the foundation of your player base.
Yeah, and their reward for being early founders is, hey, they get to play the game early, and they know that it's going to be like and not a finished state.
I mean, all I could say is the results speak for themselves. If that's all that there is, the results speak for themselves.
Yep.
And I mean, like just so you have some kind of idea, you know, you can see once Overprime goes into early access and once Predecessor goes into early access, take a look at their numbers. I implore you. Once Overprime, like they teased their Steam thing, and they're gonna be on Steam soon. Once they release early access and they go on Steam, just look at their numbers and see if their decline in numbers matches Fault. I just implore you, just check it out, because I'm gonna be looking at that. I'm gonna be looking at it, and I mean, and just to finish with what you said, Fault's journey is its own journey. It is not related to Overprime's journey or Predecessor's journey. Like each have an individual journey, and just because Fault has released early and gone through these trials and tribulations doesn't mean that the other studios are going to. They might have squashed that in internal testing. They might not have squashed that in internal testing. But the fact is, it's not comparable. Like completely different. And if you want to compare development cycles, and you compare early access release of Fault, well, you're going to see in the next 6 months early access release of Predecessor and early access release of Overprime, and then you can compare exactly where they are in their development cycle and how they pair up with each other. Because and I'm gonna just spoiler alert. Overprime and Predecessor, they're going to be vastly ahead of their early access release in terms of how refined the product is. That's my opinion.
You hold the same opinions in the same way you're holding Fault to this weird standard. You hold Predecessor and Overprime to that too.
Yeah, I'm going to play the game that I have the most fun with. Yeah, the most refined game.
Before I go, can I say something that
Yeah,
I
dude.
hope you entertain? I hope you entertain this, but you're like probably not going to.
All right. Well, like closing remarks, Reverb, before I head offline. Anything you want to say?
Yeah. Play Fault. See if you like it or not. Play Pred. See if you like it or not. Make your own opinion. Don't just jump ships for broken promises and things you're not sure are gonna happen. And Pred hates gays.